أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين، خاتم النبيين، سيدنا مرسلين، حبيب قلوبنا بالقاسم محمد. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا حسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، السلام عليك يا إمام المهدي يا صاحب العصر والزمان. صلوات. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. The message of Ashura starts today, not the past 10 days. If for us Ashura was limited to the past 10 days, then it is really a cultural message, not a message for our lives. Because if you recall, when Imam Zainul Abidin Salamullah alayhi was passing by through the city of Kufa, the citizens of Kufa were weeping and crying, and the Imam looks at them and says, I find it astounding that you are weeping over us when you are the killers of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. What happened is, the city of Kufa did not stand up. They were not united. They were a community that was hell-bent on achieving personal gains at all levels. In fact, this is what they even imparted to their families, their friends. And Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura, when he was giving his last sermon, he looks at three of them from the enemy's side and he says, aren't you the ones who wrote to me and asked me to come to Kufa? And specifically three of them put their faces down and said, we did not write to you. And he said, no, you did. You wrote. And this is what we also do. On the 15th night of Sha'ban, we write to the 12th Imam and we tell him of our problems, and some of us may even write and say, please hasten your reappearance. We do the same thing to the Imam. We write to him once a year, every year. Isn't that true? You see, tonight's lecture culminates our series on perfection. And if you look all around us, perfection, we see it or tend to see it everywhere. And wherever we see it, we try to emulate that portion. Sadly enough, it is pursued day in and day out. You and I want to achieve it. But we are heading in the wrong direction to achieve this so-called perfection. The past few nights I was talking about it on an individual basis, and tonight inshallah we shall talk about it on a collective basis. I will start individually and then move on to the community. The reason why you and I pursue perfection is because we have two things that other creatures don't have. Number one, free will, and number two, aql, intellect. And both of these are gifts that Allah has given us, together with reasoning, together with our character, together with our behavior, so on and so forth. We are not a human being that likes to be imperfect. It is our element inside of us to pursue it no matter where we are. Look at plants. Plants achieve perfection but not through intellect. They achieve perfection through their surroundings. As long as they have the sun, they have the rain, they have the water, they have the earth, they have the minerals, they will achieve perfection. Animals also, they achieve perfection not through free will or intellect, but through their instincts. So plants through their surroundings, animals through their instincts, in addition to surroundings. But human beings, not only do we try to achieve it through both of them, as our surroundings, our instincts, but we have two more that I already mentioned, and one of them is our desires. We have desires, and finally our intellect. And all of these four is not mentioned anywhere else. In any books of philosophy you want to look at them, they are not combined or mentioned in one aspect except in one book, and that is the Holy Quran. Therefore, if it is mentioned in the Holy Quran, and it is not mentioned collectively in any other form or any other book, it means and stands for reason that if man wants to pursue perfection, then the only way he can do that is through religion. Religion guides mankind. It is a compilation of do's and don'ts so that man is able to achieve this pathway. We are, as I said on the second night, on a conveyor belt. The moment we are born, our conveyor belt starts moving, just like it does in a factory. And finally it culminates into the final product. Recite a salawat, please. But you see, the Quran says in Surah Muhammad, verse number 12, they enjoy and eat just like the cattle eat, referring to some human beings who don't use any of these four, but rather they just move on with life as if nothing is happening. They're just enjoying it, constantly eating and playing around and messing about. And then he says in another verse, leave them to eat and enjoy and be diverted by longings. Soon they will know. This Quran is advising people like you and I, that when you see such people who are diverted by their desires and longing, leave them alone. Don't go after them, because the more you go after them, the more you are going to diffuse your own society, your own culture. Imam Ali ibn Abu Talib, he says, and he was in a state of sadness, he said, it breaks my heart when I see your lust for riches, your uncontrolled greed to enjoy the pleasures of this world. And Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura, he said the exact same thing to his enemies in a different word. He said, if you don't want to believe that I am from the Holy Prophet, you don't want to believe that these are the children who are from the Holy Prophet, he said, at least be free men. Why? Because all the enemies were encapsulated by the desire. All 30,000 of them, or whatever number that the history tells us. They were exceeding their desire to such an extent whereby they were not doing it individually. They were doing it in a collective form. The fact that they were rubbing off on each other was increasing the hatred and the passion they had to kill the Imam. You look at the fact that when the Imam was the last person to go on the plains of Karbala, Shimr Umar Assad told the army, surround this man. Because for as long as he is alive, he is going to try and kill as many of us as possible. Obviously the Imam would not be killing all 30,000 of them. You can imagine, Imam al-Hussein, only one person who was surrounded by 4,000 men. And there were arrows that were coming at him from all sides. The arrows of desires were piercing into his bodies. And he kept on telling them, do you not realize who I am? Do you not realize what you are doing to the grandson of the Holy Prophet? Isn't he the same prophet that taught you the prayers that you are praying today? What happens is, all of them, all 30,000 of them, they were not only obeying their desires, but they were obeying the Taghut. فَمَنْ يَغْفُرْ بِالتَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ. They did not recognize the Taghut inside of them. لَا إِكْرَاهَ فِي الدِّينِ قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. Truth is distinct from error. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. For those people who remain away from Taghut, even if they are single, even if they are alone, even if it is 1 against 4,000, they are the ones who are urwatul wuthqa, the firm handles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you hold on to that one who is firm, that one who is stronger, that one who created everyone, there is no way that handle can break. The scholars say Urwatul Wuthqa was none other than Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. He never wavered because of society. In fact, he went against society. He told them, what you are doing is wrong, and no matter what, I am willing to give up my life for that sake. But we are not willing to give up our lives. We fall into the folds of society, nurtured by them. Whatever society does, we want to do it, trying to justify the fact that we live in a modern world. Recite a salawat, please. Islam came at a time whereby the minds were ready to perceive